Continuing with structures of the eyeball, the lens is made up of a crystal-like protein that allows it to be transparent. The lens has a major function in refraction. So along with the cornea, the lens will bend light appropriately, so the focal point of the light hits the retina properly. The difference being that the lens can be adjusted. The shape of the lens is adjusted by the ciliary muscle found within the ciliary body. This adjustment is done primarily during close vision. The next part of the eyeball is a cavity. It's known as the anterior cavity. This anterior cavity, or chamber, contains a water-like fluid called aqueous humor. Aqueous humor is produced by the ciliary body and circulates in front of the lens, both behind the iris and in front of the iris. Aqueous humor functions to help maintain shape of the eyeball, but also supply oxygen and nutrients to the lens and cornea. The lens and cornea are avascular structures. They lack blood vessels. Blood vessels would impede the light rays. So you cannot have blood vessels growing in these two structures. But the lens and cornea are living tissue. So you must have an alternate method to supply oxygen and nutrients. Aqueous humor provides this function. Finally, we have the vitreous chamber. The vitreous chamber is made up of a material known as vitreous body, or sometimes it's known as vitreous humor. Vitreous body is much different than aqueous humor. Vitreous body is more like a gel material. It's transparent, so light rays can pass through it, yet it provides some support to the eyeball. It helps keep that shape of the eyeball and helps prevent the retina from detaching. So it puts a little bit of pressure up against the retina in the back. This prevents that retina from peeling off if there was a head trauma or head injury or movement of the head, which might cause detachment of the retina. Finally, in this video, we're going to look at this more detailed image of an eyeball. This is a mid-sagittal plane through the eye. You'll notice that there's a number of ways to cover the structures of this eyeball. You could do it by light, and imagine light is entering the eye, going through the cornea, entering the anterior chamber containing aqueous humor, passing through the pupil, which is surrounded by the iris, entering the lens, being refracted yet again, entering through the vitreous chamber, and then finally hitting the retina and being detected. Other structures you see the ciliary body attached to the lens. We see the muscles that can move the eye. We see a superior rectus muscle on top, an inferior rectus muscle on the bottom. We also note the inferior oblique muscle running on an angle, and the levator palpebrae superioris entering that upper eyelid. So those are some of the primary structures when we look at the sagittal plane. This is a transverse plane. We can see many of the same structures: the cornea, the iris, the lens, the ciliary body. We also note that there are 3 layers: the sclera of the fibrous tunic, the choroid of the vascular tunic, and then the retina on the inside. We're going to continue looking at this image in the next video.